So the Boston Celtics have clinched the NBA playoffs, and even though I am a Raptors fan and I hate the Boston Celtics, I gotta give them credit. The things they've done this season, in the second half particularly, is all super crazy, and yeah, shout out to Boston. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving them a playoff profile. If you don't know what a playoff profile is, the link to the playlist is in the description, and in one of my earlier ones, I explain what this is, but let's get right into the video. So the Boston Celtics have clinched the NBA playoffs. They're the second team in the Eastern Conference to do so. They have a record of 49-30 as I'm recording this, and they're the second in the Eastern Conference. Now, all that might seem, relatively normal. Boston was projected to be a good team. They were projected to do really good. Tatum was going to jump to that top 10 player. But to think that just a few months ago, they were 18-21 and were the 9th seed in the Eastern Conference is absolutely crazy. I did not think Boston would be good. As a matter of fact, I had them making the play-in, and that's it. And when I saw that they were doing so bad, I thought that I made a good prediction. But since then, they've had a crazy record. They haven't even lost 10 games since. And yeah, they've definitely been the hottest team in the entire Eastern Conference, and probably in the entire NBA. They have their star player in Jason Tatum, who I don't know if he's a top 10 player like everyone thought he would this year, but he is playing pretty darn good. He's been really impactful to the Celtics team, and for the first half of the season when they were very disappointing, he flat out carried them, being the offensive load for the team. And they also have Jaylen Brown, a nice young piece, alongside Tatum. They make to an amazing duo. Personally, I really like the duo of Tatum and Brown, and I think it should stay. They also got Robert Williams, who is actually injured and might miss a little bit of the playoffs, so it's definitely going to be a huge factor for the Celtics as to how good they'll be in the playoffs, because Robert Williams was the defensive anchor, he was their Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and he really became one of the league's best shot blockers and overall defenders in the entire NBA this season. Along with some depth pieces like Marcus Smart and Peyton Pritchard under a good coach in Ime Udoka. When the Celtics lost Brad Stevens, I think everyone saw that as an L for them, but it actually turned out to be a really good move because Ime Udoka has made the proper adjustments from the first half to the second half of the season. He made the team better both offensively and defensively since, and you could see he's taking action to his team unlike some coaches I can think of. So what went right for the Boston Celtics? As of pretty much the new year, we'll say essentially, they've had a top defense and a top offense in the entire league and have been one of the hottest teams in the last 40 games. So what changed? I'm going to explain it very quickly. Firstly, their defense improved so much. Robert Williams, obviously an amazing defender. And like I said earlier about Ime Udoka changing the defensive scheme, making them just an overall better defensive team. And then also, their role players and bench players have really improved as the season progressed. Now they have multiple players putting up double figures every game, which takes a big load off the stars. With these players starting to improve, we've seen a lot more ball movement and all those things from the Boston Celtics. So now that I've talked about the team and how they've improved so much, I'm going to talk about how I think they can do in the playoffs. I think they'll be a 2 or 3 seed because there's 2 games left, so they can't really change that much in the Eastern Conference, despite it being a really close conference. But there are some factors we have to put into account here. Robert Williams may or may not be out for the first round, so I think they just got to get out of the first round, and after that, they can definitely do some damage in the Eastern Conference. See, not having Robert Williams is actually a big loss for the team because if you got to go up against Cleveland, like for example, in the first round, who is going to be able to stop Jared Allen? They don't have that other reliable big man. So, is Boston a first round exit? With the way they've been playing recently, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that the best they can do is the Eastern Conference Finals. They're not a finals team just yet. There are teams that are better than them that even though they're worse in the standings. But I think they can maybe go to 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. I also think they're a second round lock too. There isn't really a team in the bottom of the standings. Maybe there's a few, but I think Boston can take them pretty easily. So if you want my opinion, I expect they're going to have a really solid playoff run, but they're not going to do anything crazy like win the NBA championship or make the NBA finals. because not having Robert Williams will hurt them, and we've seen this team play very, very bad at some points in the season, and it's just as possible that they go in one of those droughts in the playoffs. They're just a very risky team to bet on, and I would not have them going too far if I were you. Far, but not too far. So that's gonna wrap up this video about the Boston Celtics, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.